Welcome to the Floyd Memorial Library podcast, where we sit down with the people who give shape, texture, and voice to life on the North Fork of Long Island. Some are rooted here by generations, others arrived by chance or choice, but all carry with them a piece of the story. We talk about what's changing, what's worth holding on to, and the currents of history, both quiet and loud, that run through this place. I'm your host, Christopher Bianchi, and for episode 220, we sit down with Faith Welch, a senior at Greenport High School, student council president, and youth historian whose work has earned national recognition, including the Princeton Prize in Race Relations. Throughout high school, Faith has founded clubs, written articles, and conducted award-winning research exploring identity, local history, and what it means to grow up in Greenport. Her leadership and curiosity have made her a respected voice among her peers. In our conversation, Faith reflects on her family's roots in Greenport, the moments that shaped her childhood, and the early experiences that opened her eyes to questions of race, fairness, and community identity. She shares what has meant the most during her senior year, how her classmates view Greenport, and where she imagines herself a decade from now. So I hope you enjoy episode 220 with Faith Welch. This episode was recorded October 1st, 2025. Thank you so much for coming on the Floyd Memorial Library podcast. It's really great to have you on.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, definitely. And so in the beginning, I usually like to start off with just some of your family background. If you can tell us a little bit about your ancestry and then how your family came to Greenport.
So both sides of my family have lived in Greenport for my whole life. I don't know that much about before me, but I know that my mom's mom lived in Southold and my grandpa lived in Greenport. And then on my dad's side, both of my grandparents lived in Greenport, and that's how they met. My mom went to Greenport High School, and my dad did until his junior or sophomore year when he went to Bridgehampton. I don't know too much about the history because, I don't know, my great-grandma who had a lot of the history passed away before I, had, the, I guess, inquisitive mind to, ask her those questions. Mm-hmm. But I do know that all of the family that I know now is from Greenport. So.
Okay. And did you get to meet your grandparents? Any of your grandparents on either side?
Both sets of my grandparents are alive. My mom's mom and dad and my dad's mom and dad. And I have my dad's stepdad is really my grandfather. I don't really know my actual grandfather that much on my dad's side. But yeah, I know both of them pretty well. So.
And then I was just curious, did they say anything about their time growing up in Greenport or any stories that you might think of?
I know that, my grandparents that on my mom's side, mm-hmm. They're my mom's parents, my grandparents, they lived in Greenport until, about 2011, 2012, and then they moved to South Carolina, and they miss it so much. They talk about how much they miss it all the time. And my dad's parents, they lived here until, they moved before I was born, but they live in Bridgehampton now.
Okay.
So, but yeah, all of them, my dad's side comes to Greenport, all the time. They were just here last weekend. So they all love Greenport, and they loved growing up here. So.
Yes. And for your parents, what do your parents do for a living?
So my dad he drives a fuel truck, but he also started his own business with a greenhouse. He grows pachysandra and ivy and different plants like that, and he sells them, different ground cover plants. Mm-hmm. And my mom, while he works his other job, she takes care of that, but she's also a homemaker. So mm-hmm. Yeah. But my mom is also very artistic and creative. She makes she can put anything on a sweatshirt or a cup or any of that. She's really into different customization, things like that. So.
Yes. And did they say that did they want you to grow up in Greenport, or that it was
Yeah.
important for them
Um,
to?
when I was born, we lived in Greenport until I was about like 4 or 5, and then we moved to Riverhead, and I went to Roanoke Elementary for like a lot of my elementary school. But then I came here in 5th grade because my parents like they want us to grow up in Greenport like they
Mhm.
did. So
Yes. And I don't know if you had any of your earliest memories of growing up in Greenport that you can
um,
think of.
one of my earliest memories is I remember, I don't know if it was the Labor Day parade or the Memorial Day parade, but I remember I had like a little wallet and I think I had like $5 in it or something, and I
Mhm.
lost it and I was so upset. But then someone brought it back to me and I like found it and I was so happy. That's one of my um like something I remember a lot. I was like 2 years old, and
Mhm.
for me to remember that, it's kind of crazy. But I also remember eating a lot of ice cream. I don't know why, but I have a core memory of ice cream.
And were there any other, just for growing up here, any other activities you would do as a child growing up in the area?
I'm trying to think. I don't know much about my younger years, but I do remember like 5th grade, like going to the skate park with like all of my friends and things like that. Um, I remember something I really like will never forget is when I was in preschool, like of course I met all of these kids, and then I moved and I came back and all those same kids were in my 5th grade class, and I was
Mm.
like, this is kind of crazy. Like that the Greenport's like nowhere else in that
Mhm.
aspect. Like you grow up with the same people. Like I have been in class with the same kids since preschool till now my senior year. So
Yeah. No, that's unique in that way. And what about other local events or other places that you felt were important or unique to you growing up here?
I think the Maritime Festival, I always loved that and like idolized it. And I remember like this mermaid bag that I got from that. I really loved the Maritime Festival even when I was younger. Um, the carousel. I love the carousel.
Hmm.
And like winning the golden ring was like something that I loved to do when I was younger. Um, and like going to Brick Oven. And also, I currently work at Aldo's and I used to get their hot chocolate all the time, so it's like a full circle moment. Like I love Aldo's too. I
Yes.
love Aldo's a lot.
And just for school, you mentioned from 5th grade going in with high school. How has that been overall? And any classes that you started to become interested in early on or into high school that you have gravitated towards?
I've always been really interested in history. I just think that it's very important like to know how we got to where we are so that like for one we don't repeat history, but also it's just important to know why things are the way they are.
Hmm.
And I love that. And like even like the little things I do every day, like to keep history, like I write dates on every single thing I do because like someone who's like 80 years in the future like that wants to look back can be like, oh my gosh, this is from 2025. Like I don't know, I really love that, and I've always loved history, and that is like definitely my center in school. Like I love history. That class has just, especially US history. I think that's what
Hmm.
made me love history because my teacher was so great. So
Is that Brian
Brian
Holtz?
Holt, yeah,
Yeah.
he's the best teacher ever. Yeah. So that's why I love
Nice.
history.
uh, and you've also become involved in the community with
To the table.
coming to the table.
Yes.
I was going to say common grounds, but coming
Yes.
to the table. How did you get involved with that?
So in 10th grade, me and this group of girls, we got together and we did a research project on the history of slavery on the North Fork. And like personally, I had no idea that that even existed. It never even occurred to me that that could have happened here. which is like naive of me, but I don't know, I just had never thought of it. But during my 10th grade year, I was in African American Studies, and Mr. Holt was the teacher, and he assigned a Suffolk Times article written by Steve Wick about like the North Fork, I think it was slavery project.
Yeah, the North Fork Project.
Yes,
Is
that.
that, yeah.
He like made us, well, not made us, but he had us read this article and
Mhm.
answer the questions. And I was like, there was slavery here? And he was like, yeah, and like telling me about it. I was like, this is insane. So I brought it to the girls because they weren't in that class. So I brought it to them, and we were in a class called AP Seminar, which is basically in that class, you're supposed to just do database research. But when he gave me that, and I realized like I can do physical research, we can do physical research with this because it's here in our community. Like, we just like thought that was a great idea. So we came up with this project, and then we went to the MLK event that they have with the Anti-Bias Task Force in Southold. We
Yes.
went there so that we could like gather more information and things and try and meet people that could help us. And there we met Liz Welch and Nikki Gurrell,
Hmm.
and they were just so invested in everything we're doing. Like, they followed up with us, like they were so kind, and they asked us to come and give our presentation at that group, and that's how I got involved with that. So
Nice. And you mentioned about how you got involved with that, but even before that, were there any moments growing up when you first became aware of issues of race or fairness or community identity in Greenport?
yeah, I wish I could say that like I've always seen it and things, but I think doing this project has made me realize like some of the things that I thought were normal aren't normal, and it's made me like more aware to like the negative like ideology this country has when it comes to race, and like how sad it is. But there's definitely been like moments, and I think what really sparked like my interest in this, like I've always been so interested in like the history of like slavery and African Americans, because it's like this just doesn't make sense. Like, why is like, I mean, this is like just a quote that everyone says, but like seriously, why is like the color of someone's skin like defining like their social class and stuff?
Hmm.
So it's always just baffled me. And when my great grandmother died, like I realized like there's so much history that I don't know that like I could have gotten from her, and it like broke my heart. So it made me want to just like dig deep and learn more.
Yeah, definitely. And besides coming to the table, you've continued to be a voice in the community for young people and getting up at village meetings and at town. What motivated you to speak out more about certain issues?
I think not only like the experiences I've gone through, but also like the support. So for Coming to the Table, I'm the youth ambassador for Coming to the Table. So I try to get like youth involved in things, and I like kind of helped lead the youth portion of the Juneteenth celebration. But different like village meetings and things that I've attended, um the most recent one in the summer was because I had like a negative experience with the Southold Town Police Department in
Mhm.
June. And I think a lot of people are blind to the issues of race in this community, or maybe not blind, maybe they just don't want to see it
Mhm.
because it's just hurtful. So I don't know. I think that when kids talk about things, like it gets more recognized than when adults talk about things. So, because it's like, oh my gosh, like this is not normal. Like this kid just feels like so passionate about this that they want to share. So we should probably listen. So
Mhm.
I feel like my voice is important, and I like to use that the right way. But yeah, I'm involved in a lot of things in the community. I started an African American Studies club at my school, which also marched with the parade. Um,
Are you involved in within the school just other clubs or sports or?
yeah, so this is my second year being the student council president at Greenport, and I also sit on the board of ed as the student representative or student ex officio board member. So I have a lot of leadership in the school. I'm also a part of the a cappella group. I do cheerleading. I also do theater at Greenport. I'm involved in the school history club. Like I said, the African American Studies club. Yeah, I'm very involved in the school and outside of the school. So
Yes. And do you see that? Because I think it can be a lot of work and getting involved in all those things. And just for young people in the community, they might have other things they're focused on. Or is that something that you see it can be challenging for maybe other students in your class to get involved in the community when they might be like not distracted, but just other things that take up time?
yeah, definitely I've seen that. And Greenport's the type of school where if everybody doesn't do everything, then nothing runs because like we have so many different clubs and like you have to have certain amount of people to participate, but we don't have that many people. So nobody can really like specialize in one thing. Like people are spread thin at our school, like
Mm-hmm.
which is great. Like we have a lot of resume builders, but it's hard to just like focus and zone in on one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I've definitely seen that. And I think also, I mean, our community, in my opinion, is very welcoming to like youth voices, but I think a lot of it is the kids in my school don't know that they have these opportunities. Like, if it weren't for coming to the table and all of that, like, kickstarting, like, I wouldn't know that I could, like, go speak at village meetings and things
Mm-hmm.
like that because, like, I don't know. I mean, that just wasn't presented to us as an option, so.
It's more just like, well, you go to school and go home, go to school and do
Exactly.
whatever, but there are these other things you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and also, I think you mentioned the size of the school and all through the one building. How has that been compared to maybe a bigger school and bigger classroom size? Is it nice having that the smaller classes and being in the same building?
I think it's nice for like when it comes to student teacher relationships and
Mm-hmm.
being able to have like, extra help, like specialized for you and different things like that. And like, everybody knows everybody because you grew up with each other. But it's also a level of discomfort and like no privacy. Like
Mm-hmm.
everybody knows everything all the time. Like the littlest thing could happen and everybody will know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little difficult. Especially like I don't know, at Greenport. It's difficult in school because it's so small and everybody knows everything. Everybody knows everybody. And like say you don't get along with with someone, well,
Mm-hmm.
you have to see them every day. So
Yes.
like no choice and you're going to have to be involved in the same thing. So I mean, Greenport definitely teaches like the ability to deal with people that you don't necessarily like in a like effective and efficient way. Like, hey, I don't like you, but we need to do this and get this done, and we have to work together to do this, and I'm able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think a lot of schools don't give that. Like, a lot of students are just able to be like, I don't like you, but there's 70 other kids in this one class period, so I don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, Greenport's different in that way that you have to, like, make it work, so.
Yeah. And I think I've seen that even in the town. Just it's a
Definitely.
small town, and you see everyone. And I don't know if you wanted to say with the what's the cell phone ban. I don't know if you wanted to
Oh
talk about
yeah, the cell phone ban.
how that's
Um,
been.
I don't want to sound like I don't know, like a nerd or like a geek or something like that, but I actually like it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, a lot of kids in school, if they're listening to this, they'll be like, shut up. But I do like it. I think that it's helped me focus so
Mm-hmm.
much more in school. And like, instead of going home and having 7 homework assignments, like, I'm actually doing it in school because I have nothing to distract me.
Yeah.
Um, but there's definitely some holes in it. Like we're not allowed to use personal computers,
Mm-hmm.
but our school computers are like really not great because they're Chromebooks and they're difficult to use and then the Wi-Fi goes out sometimes or it's iffy. So there's definitely some technological issues with it, but overall I think it's had a positive impact on the school. I don't know about other schools, but definitely Greenport. But yeah, there are some holes like the personal devices and then also being able to contact parents, but I don't think it was a bad thing.
No.
I agree with it.
Yes. And now going into you're in your senior year now.
Yeah.
What has been most meaningful about your time at Greenport High School?
Um Most meaningful. I think that over the past 2 years, I've found myself in like a different way that, not to sound like egotistic, but a lot of kids my age haven't found themselves, or a lot of high school kids haven't. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I've been able to like take myself out of the mindset of I'm in high school, like this is like the biggest thing ever, and like focus on other things. And I don't know, I found like my passion, which I think is hard for a lot of people to find because it's like a lot of people do things to make money or things like that, but I found like what I truly care about, and that is social justice and fairness and bringing out the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what I'm deeply passionate about. But something that like, I don't know, I feel like Mr. Holt has played like such a big role in my high school career, my high school like experience, because he has like any idea that I've had, even if it was so crazy, like he's pushed me to do it, and
Mm-hmm.
that's like allowed me to gain so much success that like without him and without the support from him, like I would have never had. So.
Mm-hmm. And do you have an idea of exactly what you want to do coming out of high school as a
Um
career?
Yeah, so I'm applying early decision to Princeton. I really hope I get in, but I also have some other like strong candidates like Georgetown, U Chicago, NYU, Penn State, like Howard. Like these are the other schools I'm looking at, but I really want to study political science and African American studies. Those are the two things that I want to study. And law school is definitely a possible option because I've always wanted to be a lawyer, but I've also learned that like if I major in political science and minor in African American studies, I could get hired for like different positions like journalist positions and things like that, that because I have that specialty could help me
Mm-hmm.
more. So, yeah.
Yeah. And you also received the Princeton Prize in Race Relations. What does that recognition mean to you?
Um, it means a lot to me. That's definitely the thing that I'm most proudest of, like out of everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's a national award and they only pick about like 25 to 35 students a year. When I got that, like I was like actually so surprised. I was in school when I got the call, and the first thing I did was run to Mr. Holt's room to tell him because like he was the recommender. I had to have two recommenders and it was him and Liz Welch. And like I don't know, I was so happy. Like I cried because I was so happy. And even being there, I learned so much. I met so many the other prize recipients. Like I those are definitely lifelong friends that I have now. I've met so many like-minded people, but also people who have different perspectives and have helped me see different things. Like I met people that live in Alabama, and I like was taking my community for granted for I don't know, I guess being blind to certain things, but their community is like openly seeing what's happening and just neglecting it. So I've definitely gained a lot of perspectives from that award and learned like a lot of things, and it's opened so many doors for me. So
Mm-hmm. And also just talking with other fellow students and friends, what do you think people your age generally feel about Greenport?
um I think a lot of them think it's boring. They want to like, at least my friends, like I mean, they're glad to grow up in like a small town, but it's also, sometimes it's limiting. If I feel that if I didn't like push to do like the things that I was interested in, that like I wouldn't have had these opportunities like the Princeton Prize in race relations or being a junior scholar at the Schaumburg center, because those things aren't like offered to us because we live so far from everything and in such a small community that I think a lot of people feel limited. But also it's like everybody knows you and you know someone always has your back. So, I mean, I don't know. It's hard.
Mhm. No, I think that's pretty common. Where people usually want to go away and then maybe they'll decide to come back later,
hmm
but it also, as you probably have noticed, that it is expensive to
Yeah,
live
it's
here
so
and
expensive. This is like an area I'd live in if I was like retired.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, like most people you see leaving and they might not come back.
hmm
But also, I guess just looking at Greenport in the future, what are your hopes for Greenport and its community down the line?
Um, I hope that more kids get involved. I know, like, from what I've seen in school, like, there's so many kids that are coming up that have so many amazing ideas. And I feel like my generation, like, the access we've had to technology and different people's minds through, like, TikTok, Instagram, different social medias has, like, allowed us to branch out so much. And I hope that, like, more kids continue to bring things like that to Greenport and to make positive change and, like, to not cut us out from the rest. So, like, that is my hope for the future of Greenport, I think.
hmm And just over your time living here, what do you, I think you've probably touched on it a bit, but what do you enjoy most about living in Greenport?
Um, I think the community, being able to, knowing that my great aunt lives like 2 minutes from my house and I can just walk there if my parents aren't home, or that my friend lives 5 minutes away, and that like my music teacher is also my friend's mom. Like it's so
hmm
interesting out here and I love that. Also, like the access we have to water and like free land, it's very like special. People that live in the city don't have those opportunities. They don't have like a body of water they can go swim in or hang out with their friends at the beach like we can. So we're very privileged with things like that.
Yes. And this is probably a tough question, but where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
Um, I don't know. That's hard.
Yeah.
Um, Hopefully I'm a graduate from Princeton,
hmm
but I don't know. That's hard. I'd love to be like a Jasmine Crockett type of person, like a
hmm
a like fiery politician, but I don't know. That's hard. I have to think about that
hmm
one because I don't really know. I mean, I feel like I know, but I also just don't.
hmm
Um, but I want to be someone who's traveled a lot and learned other cultures. So
hmm
that's something.
Yes. And I don't know if there were any other things you'd like to say to our listeners that we haven't touched on, or maybe even other advice for people your age coming out of
Um,
school.
I think that a lot of people should like, I don't know, opportunities don't always just present themselves to you, like, or maybe they do but not in like a direct way, so you have to like search out for it and you have to like do the work. And a lot of the things I've won and different things I'm a part of, like, it didn't just happen because it just like showed up and they were like, oh, do you want to do this? It was because I like asked to and I like made a space for myself, even though I'm like younger than like everyone in all of the groups I'm in. Like I made a space for myself, and that is why like I stand out. And that's why like when I'm applying to colleges, I have all of these extracurriculars and things to put down, and like that shows them who I am because I made a space for myself. So I think that is important for kids coming up. Like a lot of things we might not have, and that's nobody's fault. It's just where we live and location and things, but you just like have to make that space for yourself. So
And you think like don't be afraid to be in those spaces where you might be the youngest one.
Yeah, and
in
don't be
the-
afraid to be in those spaces where you're the only one like you're the only one who's your age and things like that. Like, that perspective is important. Like, I know, hopefully they don't get mad at me for saying this, but everyone at coming to the table is like pretty elderly. But to have like my younger perspective has definitely opened like different doors, and I'm like so grateful that I'm able to give that. And I think every kid has that. Everybody has a perspective that nobody else has heard of before. So if they just share that, it's just so important.
No, definitely. No, but I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on the podcast today and share your story and all the work you've done and continue to do in the community. And I wish you the best on all your endeavors in the future. So thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Well, I hope you enjoyed episode 220 with Faith Welch. I want to thank you for listening to the Floyd Memorial Library podcast, and we'll see you next time.